τον λόγο στον Δημήτρη Χατζησοφόκλη να κάνει ένα χαιρετισμό από το CSI και να σας πω και μετά εγώ τον λόγο μας έδαμε. No, you want to speak in English or okay?
Καλώς ορίσετε. Θα μπορείτε? Yeah, I will do it both ways. Okay. Έχει κάποιον που καταλαβαίνει αγγλικά? Έχει κάποιον που έχει πρόβλημα με αγγλικά? Όχι. Εντάξει, θα το μισθώ. Να φαίνομαι.
Είναι ήδη. Δεν είπα ότι δεν είναι, ήταν λίγο πιο.
We already talked, shook hands, introduced. I'm going to keep it short because there's going to be a discussion about the project, specifics of the project in a little bit. So, welcome to this Fuse event. It's a project that it's very useful, and I think came to a lot of good and positive conclusions. More impact, more significant impact. So, welcome. Looking forward to this. We are going to have a discussion at some point, and hopefully everybody's going to be involved. And I will leave it at that. So, let's see how this is going to flow, and we'll chat a little bit through the topic. Thank you.
Short and sweet. My presentation is in Greek, but I can go through it in English. So if we are all okay with this, I won't speak much though. As I told you, this was a 2-year journey, which is coming near the end of this phase. The project for which we're here, the Fuse project, is one of the 6 funded by the European ESF Plus and the EASY program. Is one of the 6 consortia that was funded with the aim of establishing national competence centers in various European countries. We, as part of the Fuse consortium, because the other consortia, of course, are in different countries, we have as our partners Ireland, Portugal, Cyprus, and Bulgaria. For those interested, I can share the presentation in English afterwards. And imagine having to work with people from Bulgaria, from Portugal and Ireland. People who pioneer on social innovation, people who thrive on social innovation, and for this reason, this project was really close to not only to my heart, but I consider CSI and synthesis as well, because we've learned so many things along the way. The aims of the project were to sort of reinforce the sufficiency, let's say, the efficiency, of the ESF Plus in each partner country, to map, to find and test the needs on a local level, and also to develop those prerequisites that will help us in the establishment of national competence centers in all countries. So by the end of this project, we have our blueprint, ours is ready, and the aim is to establish a national competence center for social innovation in Cyprus. I won't go through the work packages, there is no need to. What I can say is that throughout the lifespan of the project, we were able to develop a validation tool to track, to trace social innovations and help in scaling up. We mapped the ecosystem of social innovation in Cyprus, and also we were able to meet and talk with local authorities, stakeholders, the local ESF Plus, the local policy program, and various other social entrepreneurs, I'll say, along this journey. And we've learned a lot, but also we help them in various capacity building workshops. The last one, the most important elements of this journey, as I told you before, it was the interaction with partners like Portuguese partners or the Irish partners who had a lot to offer. They had a lot of experience, they have a lot of experience, they have a bigger vision. And for us, in this process of exchanging good practices, positive building, it was beyond comparing. And now, within the framework of this project, we are here today to have this event as the Social Innovation Forum, which is also a part of the FUSE project. But the forum is something we want to keep after the end of this project. We want this forum to be a locus, a hub, a spot, a place, whatever you want, where people will be able to continue with this exchange of good practices, to be able to interact with people from other consortia as well. And also we want this forum to work as a means of pressure towards upcoming policy reforms. And now with the passing of the new legislation on social enterprises, we want this forum to give voice to all those enterprises who aspire to find a place in the Cyprus social innovation ecosystem. That's all from me. I won't tire you. And I would like now to welcome Andreas to talk to us about his social innovation. Actually, with Andreas, we had the chance to interact within the framework of the FUSE project. Andreas is the founder of AbleBook. And now it's time to give voice to all social innovations. So Andrea, would you like to join us? Andreas will talk in Greek. Andrea, do you want me to translate? Huh? Θέλεις εδώ? Ωραία. Θέλεις να βλέπεις όμως το slide σου?
My name is Andrea Panis. I'm the CEO and the founder of AbleBook, and appreciation for this AbleBook that they have accelerated us in travel. So, da Arabia y Egasia στην Κύπρο μόλις το 12 της 100 επιχειρήσεων εγώ άτομα με κάποια μορφή αναπηρίας.
So next.
Στην Κύπρο, το οίκο της 100 είναι άτομα με κάποια μορφή είτε μόνιμη είτε για ένα χρονικό διάστημα. Αντιλαμβάνεται, είναι ένα αρκετά μεγάλο κομμάτι του πληθυσμού το οποίο δεν έχει access σε βασικές υποδομές. Η όλη ιδέα του book up όπου υπάρχει σε Android και σε iOS συσκευές είναι τρία βασικά χαρακτηριστικά. Ένας χάρτης με accessible σημεία, μια data μέρους και το kids section για παιδιά με αναπηρία. Το πρόγραμμα που βλέπει ένα χρήστη να μπει στην εφαρμογή είναι ο διαδραστικός χάρτης όπου ο χρήστης μπορεί να διαλέξει την κατηγορία που θέλει να επισκεφτεί, τα facilities τα οποία θέλει να έχει ο συγκεκριμένο χώρος και μπορεί να δει κάποιες λεπτομέρειες για συγκεκριμένη τοποθεσία, δηλαδή μια μικρή περιγραφή της όλης της λειτουργίας, τα facilities που έχει η συγκεκριμένη τοποθεσία, φωτογραφίες, direction με το Google Maps, αλλά και στην περίπτωση που αντιμετωπίζει κάποιον πρόβλημα μπορεί να το αναφέρει με όλες τις εφαρμογές. Η έποκα που είναι το βασικό κομμάτι που ξεχωρίζει την εφαρμογή σε σχέση με άλλες εφαρμογές που υπάρχουν στο εξωτερικό είναι για κάτω μέρους αποκλειστικά για τα άτομα με αναπηρία, όπου επιχειρήσεις οι οποίες συνεργαζόνται μπορούν να δίνουν κάποια discount σε αυτά τα άτομα. Όμως, από τη δική μας πλευρά, για να μην υπάρχει ανάλυση χρήση της κάρτας, ένα χρήστης για να μπορεί να έχει την κάρτα μέρους συμπληρώνει μια φόρμα όπου επισυνάπτει την κάρτα αναπηρία για να μπορούμε εμείς να κάνουμε validation τι όντως είναι άτομο με αναπηρία και μπορεί να έχει εβολικά. Σε συνεργασία με τον Panis Αντέλο, υλοποιάμε ένα νέο κομμάτι στην εφαρμογή όπου παρουσιάζονται δραστηριότητες για παιδιά με αναπηρία, δηλαδή διάφορα πάρκα ή άλλες αθλητικές δραστηριότητες. Το δεύτερο κομμάτι μας διαορροπεί σε σχέση με άλλες πλατφόρμες είναι το έργο που όπου η κάθε επιχειρήση έχει το δικό της πόρτα όπου μπορεί να κάνει update τα στοιχεία της από τα στιγμή. Να τονίσω ότι πλέον ξεκινήσαμε και συνεργασία με τους δήμους όπου ο κάθε δήμος έχει τα δικό του πόρτα για να μπορεί να δημιουργεί χώρο σε αυτές. Αλλά κάτι που στην Κύπρο όλη φορά γίνεται γιατί δεν είχαμε ποτέ μια βάση δεδομένων για αυτά τα ζητήματα. Οι χρήστες της εφαρμογής είναι η συγκεκριμένη εφαρμογή. Και πριν να υλοποιούμε την εφαρμογή μας, προβήκαμε σε κάποια ερωτήματα για να δούμε κατά πόσο η συγκεκριμένη εφαρμογή είναι χρήσιμη για αυτά τα άτομα. Όπως μπορείτε να δείτε, το 80% απάντησε πολύ θετικά. Επίσης, επιχειρήσεις οι οποίες απάντησαν παρόμοια ερωτηματολόγια, το 80% απάντησε ότι μια τέτοια υπηρεσία είναι πολύ χρήσιμη για τις επιχειρήσεις και το 94% ότι θα πλήρωνε για αυτήν την υπηρεσία, γιατί έχουμε κάποια χρονιά στα πακέτα και ως πέρασμα. Είμαστε σε συνεργασία με το Δήμο Λάνδρας και Λευκοσίας, αλλά γίνονται επιβουλές που, γιατί η Κύπρος μπορεί να είναι ένας καλός προορισμός για τουρίστες με αναπηρία, που είναι ένα πολλά μεγάλο κεφάλαιο, γιατί έχουμε μικρές αποστάσεις, κάτι που βολεύει αυτά τα λόγια, και έχουμε και ωραίες παρατηρήσεις που στην Ευρώπη δεν θα πεις αυτό στην Ταμμό. Πάνε στο Φορουμ. Η Ευρώπη προσφέρει τη δυνατότητα στις επιχειρήσεις να προσεγγίσουν μια νέα αγορά που είναι το 20% του πληθυσμού που πριν δεν είχαν τη δυνατότητα να προσεγγίσουν. Επίσης, έχουν το πότα που μπορούν να χειρίζονται το πότα, και το πιο βασικό κομμάτι μια επιχείρηση μπορεί να χτίσει θετικό όνομα στην κοινωνία, σέβεται αυτά τα λόγια και έχει τις κατάλληλες υποδομές. Κάποιοι από τους πελάτες μας είναι τα Κύπρο, οι εταιρείες από διαφορετικές κατηγορίες. Θέλουμε όλες τις επιχειρήσεις να μπουν εφαρμογές για να μπορούν τα άτομα να διοργανώνουν τη μέρα τους χωρίς κάποιο εμπόδιο. Και τέλος, εγώ που δεν είναι μόνο για εφαρμογές, είναι μια ορατή ιδέα, γιατί δημιουργούμε κάποιες εκδηλώσεις για να περάσουμε το μήνυμα πως τα άτομα με αναπηρίες μπορούν να είναι μέρος της κοινωνίας. Φτάνει η ίδια η κοινωνία να ενταχθεί στα άτομα, γιατί στο τέλος της κοινωνίας είναι η κοινωνία που έχει το πρόβλημα και όχι τα άτομα αυτά.
Ξέρεις, η αλήθεια λέγεται ότι η κοινωνική καινοτομία δεν εμφανίζεται in vacuum. Κοινωνική καινοτομία, κοινωνική επιχειρηματικότητα εμφανίζεται όταν υπάρχουν ανάγκες κοινωνικές. Και Ανδρέα μου, καλό που μας θυμίσεις κάποια σημαντικά πράγματα. Λοιπόν, τώρα ο λόγος στην Ελλάδα Αντιχρίστου, περιμένω να ακούσω πολλά για τα Gardens of the Future, να μας πεις, αν σκέφτεσαι να επεκταθείς εμείς.
Να κάνω.
Καλό, η παρουσίαση σου. Απλώς εγώ με χειροκροτήσω, δεν φτάνω για μένα κάτω.
Λοιπόν, καλησπέρα σας, καλό απόγευμα. Πώς είμαστε? Είμαστε καλά? Να πω και ένα μικρό μπράβο στον Ανδρέα, γιατί το παραδείγματα σαν τον Ανδρέα δείχνουν την ουσία της κοινωνικής επιχειρηματικότητας, που είναι το representation of communities. Και νομίζω ότι κάνει ο Ανδρέας πολλά brave. Να περάσουμε στους κύκλους του μέλλοντος, σαν ένα άλλο community που έχει να κάνει κυρίως με το sustainability. Κάποιοι που σας μπορεί να ξέρετε τη δράση μας κάποιοι, γι' αυτό να το πάρω έτσι λίγο από την αρχή. Η ιστορία μας ξεκινά 2-3 χρόνια πίσω. Ο σκοπός του χώρου ήταν να πιάσει ένα εγκαταλειμμένο κτίριο 50 χρονών και να το κάνει transform σε ένα culture and sustainability hub. Όταν αναφέρω τη λέξη hub δεν εννοώ κάτι εξειδικευμένο, εκτός που την ουσία που είναι ένας χώρος that connects people to people. Εφύγαμε από τις φωτογραφίες που βλέπετε αριστερά, ήταν ένα debris in the heart of Nicosia, full of homeless, και πήγαμε σε έναν χώρο που ουσιαστικά ανοίγει την πόρτα για να δώσει την ευκαιρία στον κόσμο να εκφραστεί και να ξανανιώσει την έννοια του belonging. Μα κάνουμε ένα βήμα πίσω, γιατί ο κήπος του μέλλοντος δεν είναι ένας κήπος, αλλά εκείνο που έρχεται πίσω από τούτον είναι τα infinite possibilities του τι μπορείς να κάνεις γύρω από τον χώρο. And maybe I should speak in English. I just made the realization, even though you understand the Greek. Actually, I speak English, Greek, mix, English. Okay, so sorry. As I said, the gardens of the future, at the physical level, it's a garden, but the possibilities of what you are doing around it is infinite, and we're spending a lot of time on reflecting that. So the meaning of the gardens of the future is to provide the means to go from an urban garden to become a neighborhood that is able to reassess the way we live, we work, and we connect. And I want to make a stop here. So the way we live and we work has a lot of anxiety, a lot of disconnection, a lot of segmentation, because everybody's rushing too much, including myself. I mean, this project was transformative even for myself. I went from being a woman running too much and burning out to being a woman that's able to find balance to the day-to-day basis. And I think this is a fundamental element of sustainability that we don't talk, well-being and mental health. So yes, the Gardens of the Future is sitting down to the innovation dimension and the sustainability dimension, that I will give some examples of what we do. But the most important thing is that it's giving at the moment the opportunity to shift on the cognitive level, which is the mindset. Trying to create a model of how neighborhoods can work. And the reason is that the neighborhood brings people together, hence the community. The neighborhood is a small scale, and when you have things on a small scale, you are able to manage them. So if we are talking about urban challenges, giving a new solution of how water should be in the city, the best way to solve it is in a small scale. And we are able to do that, if we are able to find the formula and the recipe, we are able to scale that up to other neighborhoods and other cities. So on that social dimension, we are currently focusing on education. So learning for us is not a school of learning mathematics and physics. It's about providing people the means to rethink their own life and rethink their own businesses. And hence there are days that we teach entrepreneurship through the garden. So a garden, apart from giving you cucumbers and tomatoes, is giving a lot of lessons about failure. We are not very comfortable with failure. It's giving you a lesson about patience and growth. Growth is an important element from business. And it's also giving you a platform to allow people to exist, but at the same time change. Now on the sustainability dimension, on the one side, we are trying to focus a lot on food growth and how this can affect the urban development of the cities. But the other aspect of the sustainability dimension goes to the construction materials and goes to the technologies that we can utilize to reinvent. So, for example, like I will use the like he says always, remember in order to imagine. So for us, the idea of bringing back the values of the grandparents and the values that 100 years ago we were used to celebrate and combine it with the benefits of what we have today, which is technology, is an aspect we want to contribute in. And hence we come to the third pillar, which is the innovation dimension. Innovation dimension, the essence of innovation is providing new knowledge and new business to a market that needs it. So we, on the premises of the gardens, yes, there is an outdoor garden, but there is a maker space where we have machines like 3D printers, and we have the space to create research and development about having sustainable products and having new possibilities working with construction waste, and anything really that we decide to challenge. So to cut the story short, at the beginning when we started the gardens, Burak knows because on the first days before the garden exists, as part of the social innovation ecosystem, we decided to join our forces, like Burak and Steven from Cyprus. I was involved with other projects. Argiro, Paul, we were all in different businesses, but we all care for the same cause. So some people are focused solely on making money, which is the traditional means of business, but some people care to the collective, care to change systems, and care to be change makers. So on that note, we had a common vision to contribute to change, and this is what brought us together on putting our efforts and our knowledge to bring Gardens of the Future to life, because we care for positively impacting the life of others and the environment. And these two things are connected. This is not a quick fix. It's not going to happen by night. That's why we spend like 10, 15 years investing and failing and trying again. And I think the biggest lesson that I can share today that this is a very slow process. It's a very difficult thing to deal with social business. It's a very difficult thing to change systems. And hopefully it's very rewarding coming 10 years, 20 years after and seeing that what you believe in is actually happening. So it's Gardens of the Future, yes, it's a very young initiative. It's less than 3 years old in operation. So we managed to come first nationally the first year on sustainable practices. The second year we got globally acknowledged by Mission Innovation for addressing SDGs. And the last year we won the new European Bauhaus, which is an establishment of the European Union celebrating sustainable projects in Europe. The reason I'm saying this is not to emphasize or show off or anything, but I'm just trying to say that yes, we're in Cyprus, it's a small village island, and that doesn't mean we don't have opportunities. It means that we have the opportunity to work closely and collaboratively to provide world-class level solutions. So we are spending a lot of time of zooming in and dealing with the dirt and making experiments, but on the zoom out, what we're doing here is providing answers to the urban policy of EU or a package of solutions for the United Nations. So for those that did not experience the gardens, I'm just gonna give some days. We have a lot of different days at the gardens. We go from corporate workshops to cooking days to festivals. This was something we did with our collaborators in Lidl. So because of the way we work, there's a lot of interest to collaborate with universities, government, and industry partners. This is a day where we celebrated with Lidl. I put this on purpose because it's something we did together with the Center of Social Innovation last year. And it was an opportunity how other ventures like CSI are working for the same cause. So we hosted a brilliant event which collected green startups and sustainable practices at the gardens. And we were very lucky to have the Commissioner of Cohesion of Europe together that day at the gardens. This was emphasized on heritage. It was a collaboration with the University of Cyprus. So the reason I'm showing this another day with cooking class for Philip Morris, the reason I'm just saying this is that they look very, very different days, but they all contribute to belonging. Different people, different themes, but same course. And to zoom out, and I want to leave you this so we can discuss later, the model of the gardens is not just the garden, it's a model that is looking at the future potential of the city, because we care to solve problems in a small scale, big problems in a small scale. And the two legs that we are trying to walk this path, because it's a very difficult path, and it's not for everybody, and it's good to be a truth bomber right now. It's these two pillars. The H to H stands for human to human. It's a very important element to do business that cares for people, but also find ways to commercialize this. The human to human to be a business approach, not to be just a theoretical approach for contributing. And the ROI square stands in business terms. This is return of investment. So if I was going to invest 1 million and get back 1.5 in 3 years, this is how traditional business works. But for us, return in involvement, which is how people's engagement comes in the equation of business, is something that is able to provide long-term results. Hello, everybody. We have more social impact in the room. It's a very important element. So I don't know, we are a small group, so I don't know how many people are concerned with the idea of developing businesses, but it goes down to 3 things. What are you doing? How are you doing it? And the most important thing is why. So I think the difference between a business that is focusing only on financial returns and a business that is trying to combine social and financial prosperity is the depth that you go on these questions and the complexity. And I want to leave you with a quote that Michael Porter, which is a financial specialist, left for the model of such businesses is the shared value. The ventures that they are able to combine profitability and social impact at once. So thank you. I'm not gonna take more time. And if there are any questions, feel free to ask.
Θέλω να ρωτήσω, κράτα το.
Ναι, feel free.
Κράτα το για το τέλος, για να δούμε αν έχασες ποτέ την υπομονή σου και είπες τώρα.
Definitely, every day.
Γιατί για να το ξέρεις.
It's a daily ritual.
It's a daily struggle.
Ναι.
Λοιπόν, now we want to hear what Burak has to say. Burak, the co-founder of Cyprosino. I'm really interested in this capacity building and the workshops that you offer as well. So the floor is yours. Sorry.
Yes.
We're used to solving problems, it's okay.
Yes.
The microphone.
It's working.
Yes. So, hi everyone. Microphone?
No,
I'll change from here. It's okay. This is the first time I'll be presenting this slides with a new name. Everybody knows us as Cyprosino, but we're going through a rebranding phase to go a bit global, then take our work global than what we'll be doing here. And I'll talk about the whole plan of how we'll be doing this. So we're shifting into social tech lab, which we want to bring peace innovation in action. And I'll share with you how we do this and why we started this. So our purpose is to harness the power of technological innovation to create an ecosystem that fosters collaborative entrepreneurship and resilience in regions affected by instability. So it doesn't mean only conflict, it can be post-conflict, it can be high unemployment, which leads to conflict, it can be many different ways. And we believe that our methodology can help solve this in many different regions. The problem is huge. It's a very business-oriented presentation rather than an NGO. We're a non-for-profit, but we take always a business mind in what we're doing. There's 2 billion lives affected by conflict globally, and there's more than $14 trillion impact globally because of conflict on people's lives. And we want to change this by using new methods. The gap when we started, especially in local context in Cyprus, we've seen that peace-building initiatives were daily or weekly, targeting very specific group of people, and we wanted to find a way to engage people and keep this going. So how can we create sustainable peace? How can we create sustainable impact? How can we create more social and economic impact? Because when we first started, it was here in the Republic, it was the 5th highest youth unemployment rate in the EU, and it was more than 35% youth unemployment rate in the Turkish Cypriot community. We came up with this model that we call it the social impact generator. We tested it, we applied it, we're trademarking it right now. We believe that if you call us tomorrow in any country and say, come and implement, we'll be able to do it. It will be custom made, but our processes and methodologies can be matched and fixed in most of the regions. And we do that by firstly the mapping and seeing what is needed. And then we do a lot of capacity building to see how we can help people. We do a research to analyze what is missing. And this is why we're always transforming and changing our organization. We keep this mentality in ourselves, and we don't usually repeat the programs we do. If we don't need to repeat the program we did, that means we succeeded. We don't need to do the same thing anymore. We need to go to the next stage. So we focus on bringing this through digital tools like programs, spaces, and at the end, we're reaching sustainable peace, social impact, and economic development in those regions. Why collaborative entrepreneurship? Maybe you came across, if you look at the traits that the peace builders have and the traits that entrepreneurs have, they're nearly 90% the same. It's people who take risks, it's people who need to have dialogue, it's people that they need to have negotiation skills. It's the same skills you need to have peace. It's overlapping with entrepreneurs. And the other thing is technology and other things are accelerating the impact. If you think of where we are today with use of technology and where we were 50 years ago, it cannot be compared. One of the case studies that we applied this model is the Cyprus, that most of the people know us for. We started in 2016, team of 2 from 2 different communities. We didn't know each other, we had similar ideas, we met online, and we started testing it digitally. So the first thing we did was to map all entrepreneurs island-wide to see who are the entrepreneurs, what they do, and how can we connect them. So we were fostering and pushing for intercommunal partnerships for businesses. And then over the years, we started doing an e-learning platform together with Synthesis. Was the first project we did with them, and then we moved into networking events. Over the years, our community has grown from more than 5,000 people. We started with networking of 35. We didn't fit in the buffer zone. We collaborated with CSI. We did the Cyprus Networking Fest from 100. Last year it was more than 250 people, and it keeps growing over the years. So we had a funding platform. We do mentorship programs. We mix match entrepreneurs with people in need. We do a lot of things based on the needs. And to do that, we do yearly or every 2 years, we run research to our database to see what they need. And we do custom-made programs based on that. And the second one was the case study of the base. So we said, why not have all of this physically? And then we moved into a space in the buffer zone that we've been looking for 4 years with the help of Implicit. And it's the first, I think, co-working space, pre-accelerator in a demilitarized zone in the world. And we also have a podcasting studio, because before us there was a radio center there, so we preserved it and we opened it again to public. And we do lots of events. We have outdoor capacity there. And it's like a hub where people can come and communicate and have events and network. And we do lots of all of our programs, most of them, the physical ones, in the buffer zone, which is neutrally accessible for everybody. How do we make money? For 3 years, 4 years, we've been bootstrapping. So Social Tech Lab is the umbrella organization now, and we do events and program implementation. We do co-working and space facilitation for people. We have processes that we developed over 7 years that we can do onboarding and the selection process to exit strategy for accelerated programs, incubators or boot camps for entrepreneurs. We have another company called Junior Labs that we do strategy consulting and mentorship to startups specifically and product management for startups. So we diverted our expertise of the team in different things to sustain all our activities. This is our team. Me, Steven, and Alexia recently joined us. We have diverse background from sustainability specialists to health tech, biotech, to supporting entrepreneurs. And we were coming together with 7 years of collective experience together in developing this. What's next for us? We're looking for new partners to start deploying this idea abroad. And then we'll be looking to grow our team with our new projects. We'll be having 3 new projects which we'll announce next month. A specific academy for women entrepreneurs. We'll be launching it next week. We're in the process, but we might have a youth innovation lab, heavily tech focused, starting by August. And there's going to be a big announcement in a couple of weeks, a regional program to bring people from other post-conflict regions here in Cyprus, but I cannot share more details right now. Thank you.
Wow. Wow. Indeed. It's inspiring. And actually, when you consider that all this effort is done for a good purpose, and now I will give the floor to Mrs. Ellen Georgiou. She's here on behalf of the Voice of Autism, and I would love to see your views on social entrepreneurship as a person who is, who is part of this NGO who deals with the social issue. I'll close this since.
I don't have a slideshow, but I'm animated.
You have a show by yourself.
I'm a show by myself. My name is Ellen. Can you hear me? And I am the president and one of the co-founders of Voice for Autism, Advocacy and Action. It's a startup NGO, which is why we don't have a slideshow. And in a very, very short amount of time, just over a year, we have done incredible things to change the landscape in Cyprus for young adults with autism. And coming back to Cyprus 2 years ago from California, I knew exactly what I needed to do for my 27-year-old autistic son, but benefited from everything that we had in the States. But I didn't come back saying that, this is what we had in America. I came back knowing full well what I could achieve here. We set up 2 houses in Macadamia. We raised 1.1 million. I love saying that. We raised 1.1 million in 2 months. And we bought 2 houses in Macadamia because the need is great. I worked in Cyprus as a journalist for a few years and I had great contacts. And I tapped into those contacts and they stood up for me and doors opened. So it's not about having the money and opening doors. It's about integrity. It's about a mission, and it's about the vision, and it's about the importance of what we're doing. So independent living was first on our agenda. These young people, they want to live independently away from their parents, and they want to live rich, vital lives. These 2 houses are ready to go. It's a community within a community. Second to what we wanted to do is an autism agenda in government to sort of serve everybody of all ages at different points in their lives, and that's something we're pushing and fighting for. And the third thing that was very important is social integration, which is another buzzword for everybody. Social integration, a job program which I'm currently developing now. Now the group homes were like inches away from getting the government grant to run them. Without the government, we cannot sustain operations. I'm fully aware of that. We have lobbied hard, and I'm proud to say that we are a model. I mean, this is true innovation. We are a model. We haven't set up the 2 group homes and then just said, well, we've got 6 people happy when we've got a waiting list of 50 people with autism who are dying to move in somewhere. So we've created this model. Our hard work, me knocking on doors of government, means that Small Famagusta, similar to ours, they're doing a group home. The Doxotis Foundation doing a residential facility. And we have paved the way. We have made it easy for them because we've fought the fight. So it's really about being a model for other initiatives on the island. The social integration model, I'm currently developing I want to open a restaurant, and I've got the business plan, and I've got 8 people with autism, and again, 20 in the wings who would like to come, and I've got this ready. Now with this social enterprise scheme government with the new regulations, there's a feeding frenzy and everybody's on it. And I've gone there with a proposal, with the warm bodies, ready to go, and I will buy the location, I will make it happen. It's about action and it's about doing it. And I've had complicated talks with this Office of Social Enterprise, and it's hard. I mean, they say things like, well, as an NGO, you don't qualify for these grants. And I just said, well, if I don't qualify with my 8 warm bodies, and I've got this business plan, and we've got, shifts and the feasibility study, who's going to get this? Who's going to get the funding? If I'm in the trenches and you're not going to give me the funding, then I'm going to navigate it, and I will call myself a puppet show. I will do whatever I need to do to start this operation, and I'm going to do it, okay? Because we're in the trenches and we're doing it. We're not talking about doing it. And again, what heartens me is that we will open the way, and we're going to be a model, first on the island, of autistic kids having been stakeholders in a business. Doesn't exist. So we're the model. And I love that. I love that as an activist. I love that as an NGO. We are models, and we are paving the way. Now, Larnaca can do the same thing, Limassol can do the thing, Paphos can do the same thing, because we've created this model and we will make it work. Why am I here today? I was invited, right? But the reason I'm really here is because there was a conference a couple of weeks ago on social innovation, work opportunities, integration. And the municipality of Nicosia said, Ellen, perhaps you'd like to attend this conference. I read all the academics on the list. And I called the organizers. And I said, you know what, I'm not coming to this conference, Anne-Marie. I'm not coming to this conference like anybody cared, right? But I said what I had to say because you don't have one NGO on this agenda. Not one NGO is talking about what they're doing on the ground. I mean, with all respect to the academics, and of course you need the discussion and you need the forum and you need the ideas, but we're on the ground. We're digging the trenches, And then I think I wrote to the Midlands because I was really agitated. And I think I said, I'm sorry, the Midlands, I apologize, I'll show you social innovation. I think I said that, because that's what social innovation is. It's action. It's not all talk. And I'm a little bit agitated by there's a kind of, there's a divide. It's like a disconnect. There's a disconnect between this EU funding and then the middlemen, the consultants. It doesn't trickle down. In many occasions it does, and it's wonderful. I'm talking about my community, the autistic community, which is suddenly very fashionable. Autism is suddenly fashionable. Social integration is suddenly very fashionable, and it's like there's a feeding frenzy of people that are contacting me now saying, we need 10 autistic kids, we need 5 autistic kids, we need 3, and I just think, well, you know what, we're not bait, for this feeding frenzy for these EU programs. And I'm going to give you a very, very, very quick example of Erasmus. And I'm trying to navigate Erasmus, so I'm not talking against it, I'm trying to navigate. But these are the kind of calls I get. We need 8 autistic kids. We need the 8 autistic kids like now, like I'm going to get them out of a hat. And we would need 8 autistic kids, and we want to take them to Romania for a resume writing workshop. And now, in my world, this is a joke. And I say, how many autistic kids do you think know what a resume is? Well, we're going to teach them. And I just say, well, what does this serve? A 3-hour workshop, I could do it on a Saturday afternoon, 3 hours, teach them to write a resume, learn the word resume. She goes, but it will help them get jobs. And my response is, what helps them get jobs is creating a space, creating an environment, creating the jobs. That's what helps them get jobs. And why are you going to Romania? And the answer is, will they get a holiday out of it? These are academics. And my response is, if it's a holiday, let's call it a holiday. Let's not mask it as something else. I mean, it's insulting and it's a mockery. And again, I come from a place of ignorance because I haven't quite navigated Erasmus. But if we're not getting these programs, if it's not trickling down to us, who's it going to? And I thought a lot about, this disconnect. Maybe the disconnect is because we are a non-profit, and these capacity building programs are for profit because you need a profit to operate. And the disconnect might be there. But you know what? I'll talk about social integration. True social integration is when you create a space. You create a space and you allow people to show up and be heard. That's it. Happy to take any questions.
Yes, if you want to pick up with the rest.
I will.
Welcome to our panel discussion. So during this session, you'll be invited to talk about the challenges and the opportunities, while from your own side of view within the field of social entrepreneurship. So this session will be in the form of discussion. Thus, you'll be given 3 questions, and then you'll have the opportunity to discuss and pose questions on yourselves. So now it's time for the first exercise. As you can see in front of you, you have a piece of paper. So I'll kindly ask you to, write 3 keywords that come into your mind when you hear the word social innovation. So you have 30 seconds to write 3 keywords. Who wants to go first?
Yeah, even though I'm the oldest here.
That's why you should go first.
I'm just complimenting everyone here. Should I say the words?
Yes.
It's business, sustainability, innovation. Just talk about it.
Yeah.
Okay. I think listening to all the presentations is encouraging, first of all, because social innovation is, and I will agree with Helen, is opening up spaces for people to find what they want to do and what they are able to do. Also, one of the things that was mentioned, I think, by everybody Helen mentioned it as well at the end, as a realization that maybe profitability is something that social innovation organizations ought to look into. Is very important. Being sustainable as a business, being a social innovation business or a for-profit business is critical, because if you don't have the money, what happens is, yes, you will find some money to do some things, but in times of economic depression, the first organizations to go, unfortunately, are the organizations that survive with donations and the good heart of the people that have the money. And the third word is motivation. So business, sustainability, and motivation. And when you look at all the previous presentations, you can clearly see the motivation. Helen has her motivation through her experiences in life with her family and matching that with her knowledge. Natasha, and much longer than Helen. I know that what they are doing is being their heart, and they are kind of digging the trenches, as Helen said, for many, many years, and finally they found ways to do the things that they wanted to do to contribute to the community. So to be able to do it sustainably, not only financially, but also operationally, you have to find that motivation that kind of pushes you every day, because these are difficult endeavors. They are not easy things to do, right? To find that motivation that wakes you up every morning or maybe keeps you up every night, to be able to achieve these very, very, very difficult things that all the panelists and Andreas were able to do. So my suggestion here is I don't know how long do I have.
2 minutes.
Where are we? I should tell me this on the other.
It's okay, we laugh when you're talking, it's like gold, you know? Go for it.
But one of the things that kind of bother me personally when we talk about social innovation is that we are trying to put social innovation in a different space. And I think that's a mistake. Even with the new legislation that's something we're going to involve in and implemented. And I work on that
legislation is in the last 3 years. Guidelines. We expect guidelines.
I think they are wrong, because why go and do like a separate framework or guidelines or profile of what is a social innovation? And we can talk about it more, so I think that
My first one was inclusive. I think whatever you do, you need to be inclusive, not only with the target group, but I think especially places like Cyprus, when you're in a small community, you don't have the chance not to work with anybody in the field. I think you should be partnering with everyone in the field. Sometimes it gets competitive, and this is my suggestion to all the social entrepreneurs or those who are leading NGOs. You have to work together. You don't have a choice. You cannot help somebody without collaborating. So I think inclusivity is key in helping a group of people or solving a problem in the community. The second one was sustainability. I agree with the Dimitris. You need to be financially sustainable to continue to make the impact grow, learn in the field and keep it going. And third is the change to bring the change, and also continuously change and update the organization. So you will be always getting onto what is needed and delivering better impact to the people that are in need.
It's amazing how we got to get the third word the same. Yes. It's okay? Yeah, okay. So 3 words on me is people, impact, and change. So to add on the vocabulary, I will change to growth. So I think what is being said, it's giving the ingredients of what social innovation is doing. It's still a business. We should not treat it separately. It needs to do with engagement and people. And this is what covers what I'm actually covering with people, is that it's human-centric. It's supposed to provide, And when I say people, it means also the environment that it comes with it. And that's why I think environmental sustainability is part of social business. And yes, I mean, personally, I think we do care for change because we're here to change things and not accept the status quo. And I think in terms of business, if we think of business in the terms of a growth mindset, it's giving a different dimension of how we take things. They start from zero, so you get a lot of grassroots initiatives. There is a strategy, 5 years, 10 years, and I think these are all elements of growth. And becoming, I think the whole essence of growth is becoming something well established and important. So, yeah.
The first word I wrote down is necessary. Social innovation is obviously necessary. And then I wrote 3 words because I always break the rules. Not rocket science. I think social innovation is there. It implies newness. That's what innovation is, the creation of something new. It's social innovation. And I think it doesn't necessarily start in the universities or higher up. It does start on the ground. This is what NGOs are, independent people coming together to create change and implement change. So, and then I wrote something that's a strong word, but it did come to me, and I wrote down the word joke. It's become a bit of a joke, and that bothers me because I think everyone is on the social innovation bandwagon, and it's diluting the good work being done when everybody suddenly is a social innovator. And that's what I wrote.
Thank you very much. Thank you for your input. So let's move forward to the second question. And now we would like to know which methods you use in order to apply social innovation for your business. Would you like to go first?
What methods I employ? I knock on government doors and I drive them mad. You know? I go and I talk and I challenge, and that's my method. Okay. And that it works for me. And again, I mean, even this being here today is because I stood up. I stood up for our community, and that worked for me. I mean, it got me this audience, and it has worked for me. You just speak up and you state the truth.
Thank you, Melissa.
Just a bit to specify, are we talking a bit of methods in terms of like a business approach or?
Business approach.
Okay, I mean, I work with the design philosophy, which gives you the humbleness, the ability to take the risk, proceed to the unknown, be able to reinvent, because there's not, whatever is supposed to work, it doesn't. So what do you do after is the main question. So for me, it's a combination between design thinking and starting.
I want to rewind this. You were talking about methodology.
Yes.
Well, methodology, I'm sorry.
Because
I'm
from a
gonna rewind.
PhD perspective, when you say method, I'm
Yeah.
gonna have to speak different
Well, I don't
language.
have a PhD.
It's
so
okay, you still have a method.
Yeah, well, methodology, it was very clear from the beginning that I would need individuals like myself, families, I would need corporate enterprise to support them. I mean, we need the money, but I would also need the government, because without the government, there's no sustainability. So that was very clear, the methodology.
Thank you.
We use the social impact journalism. It's what we use, yes.
It's
We
the social
know.
thing.
Maybe I should use it.
But okay, there's the methodology and there's the values. I think the most important that helps us keep going is the team. It's the way we think and the way we come up with ideas to solve challenges. So the way we look at things and the way we make it fun. I mean, I think that's the best part that makes things work for us. I mean, it's you think of something, there's a challenge, and then you come together. I cannot think of a meeting with my team that is not fun. And then whatever comes out of that, it's gonna be good. It might not be great, but we know that it's good. And that is, besides the theory of what we created, I think that's more unique that everybody needs, because even if somebody gives you the best methodology to implement, if you don't have a good team,
Doesn't work.
Exactly.
I think for us it starts with our purpose. Our purpose is improving quality of life, and the people that are here from the company I'm like, oh, stop saying it. We say that 10 times a day. We really believe it, and we really know and say what we need to do to improve quality of life. It has to do with the things that you guys discussed. But it also has to do with simple stuff. I have a 9-year-old. I have older kids too, but 9-year-old, and she's my social experiment. And one of the things that we do when I drop her off at school is, besides the hugs and the handshakes and all that, then she walks down 10 steps and she goes off to go into the school, and it's like 30-meter distance, and she goes backwards. Okay, and we do this. Whoever knows about baseball, in baseball they do signs. Okay, so they kind of give signals of what's going on. So we do. Okay, I will explain one to you, and maybe later the rest. So we say, and I show it to you. She goes backwards, and she knows, because we talk about these things. And the first one is hard work. You have to be determined and willing to work hard. The second one is patience. You have to be willing to put in the work and wait until the results come. And if they don't come, keep pushing forward. And the third one is perseverance. And I think our methodology is that we keep trying things, we keep our purpose, and slowly we achieve the things that we want to achieve. That's not all the way through how we want to do it, but slowly we're getting there.
I want to add on this because I think this is it, like you mentioned, the purpose. I think the purpose is like a compass. And compass is not telling you the road that you need to take. It's not like Google Maps. It's a direction that you will get lost, you will get a bit diluted, but it's always a way to go back, or a confirmation that you're going in the right direction. So I think a common understanding of this business is the purpose, and that the purpose becomes a compass for the business, and never sacrifice that.
I want to add, because you said compass, also the strategy is one of the most important methodologies, like to know where to stop, because when you first start, you're small, and there will be a lot of opportunities coming. This funding stuff, you need to know where to say no, be focused, and know where you're going, so you don't dilute, and then your impact also.
So, final question: what challenges you have faced within the process of establishing your business?
I think one of my biggest challenges was the newness of what we were doing, the innovation. Is like, and again, going to government, I didn't have money, I didn't have a problem raising money, I didn't have a problem raising support. But when it came to the government part of it, because it was a new model, the doors are closed. We've never done this before. Well, my response is, what have you done before? And the answer is nothing. So if you've done nothing before, why can't we start with new terrain? And so this is even now with this social enterprise scheme. They said, well, it's never been done before, an NGO coming with the population, with the business model, what has been done before? Nothing's been done before. So that really has been the challenge. It's that this establishing my idea and my vision and what we want to do and what's necessary for society, it hasn't been done before. What's been done before is, well, you know what, let's throw people with disabilities, the old people, the people with mental illness, let's throw them all in an institution. And that's still the model on the books. So this new model of, independent living, homes within a community, social intervention, this is a new model. And it's just hard because it hasn't been done before.
Thank you.
The biggest challenge.
Yes. Just think one or two.
I think the biggest challenge is cognitive. It's with the self, because you face a lot of uncertainty. You face a lot of problems. So I think the mental aspect of transforming from a problem loser's mindset and going to a confident mindset that whatever the case, you will find a ways to succeed, keep people together, proceed with or without the financial resources. tolerate with failure. It's all cognitive. So I think this is the biggest challenge, to able to set yourself in a state of mind that you are able to survive the process.
I would second that, and
He helped a lot on that, actually. You
no,
did
it's a-
all the
it's true. Because when you first start on salary, so you need to balance your work plus the second work, because it's a work on its own if you want to grow it. So that both the emotional fluctuations, let's say, that you go through, and the time management that you need to do to make it work is very hard until the organization becomes sustainable. And of course, there's a lot of bureaucratic challenges in establishing social entities. I mean, the latest legislation, I don't know what's happening now, but before you couldn't even say you're a social enterprise if you're not registered as a social enterprise. There was a fine against that towards you. So, do you register as an association? Do you register as a company? If you're a company, you can pay grants. So you do a non-for-profit company. All these things and the cost, and until you understand while you're staying on your legs, it's a very long and complicated process. So, in summary, it's the mental part as a person who studied it, and then it's the bureaucratic stuff that it makes it even harder for you to keep it going.
And especially in your case, that you had to deal with the political peace building. It's even adding on the complexity.
I don't get that.
How long do we have?
It's the last question
Okay,
again.
it's the last question. So we can discuss as well.
Yeah.
With social challenges, we have one basic problem, that is big. And you can see from this room here. I think you guys invited 200 companies, individuals, and all that, right? The majority of people, when they face a social challenge, they show sensitivity, they show concern and all that, but in reality, they don't make it part of their life. So when we see a fellow human being, or something about the environment, or the things that are kind of affect our lives, or should affect our lives, we will mostly feel sorry for the problem or the person. That has a foundation, and the foundation is simple. And I'm very open and transparent. We are lazy. 80% of people are lazy to think outside what is the normal thinking and operational level of our daily lives. Because of that, we don't think through how we can fix this, and we don't think through how we can integrate those social problems into our own daily lives, so we can begin thinking about solutions. And so when I say solutions, is that we're not going to be everyone's going to be a solution provider, but we can support these causes that deal with these solutions to the problems. So, from our point of view, the two challenges that we have is, number one is to convince people to embrace our purpose, which I said, including quality of life and all the substance that is behind, because of what I said, And the second challenge that we had was that to again, convince people to understand and accept and embrace a different way of thinking. And I'll give you one example that has to do with these guidelines, not legislation, guidelines about social enterprises. This has been going on for the last, I would say, 10 years, Panis. These guidelines.
No, wait, the guidelines.
Okay, yeah.
13.
Forever.
The law is around 10 years.
Yeah.
That they were to start the discussion.
So this law is fundamental because it
Some
will,
other
it will facilitate, it will make it easier for the people and organizations that want to address and solve these social issues to do it much easier. Okay. So one that I put on the table is, instead of going on and building a new legislation, affirm that somebody is a social enterprise and give them tax incentives for money that they don't have to begin with, okay, and all that stuff. The proposal was, why don't we convince all businesses to have a social face, a social impact strategy or purpose or or whatever. And they say, well, but then, how do you define that? I said, this is, okay. So you have a 12% tax rate before taxes. You get 12% is your tax rate. So why don't you make it 20% for the companies that are proven to have a social impact? And how do you have a social impact? I mean, the known ways and all that. But if I'm a business and I match with Helen, for example, and I can prove that pre-tax I invest 20% of my pre-tax revenue or on a social cause, then I don't pay taxes. So the government kind of loses 12%, but the society gets 20%. And as a social business, as a business that cares about social causes, I get to benefit too, because then I can show my sensitivity and empathy and hands-on support to the people that need it. And that way, you solve the sustainability problem, because if we match one organization with 4, 5, 6, 7 profitable businesses, then you will never have a problem building, how many houses we need to house everybody, how many businesses that we need to put these people, in this particular case, into these businesses, or address other social issues, or the peace building situation. So the way to solve these problems and to avoid these challenges is to think in a different way, not create a mechanism that is going to spend all the resources to police who is going to be a social enterprise and who is not. Why not police, if you want, all the businesses to do it? Okay. So that's an example to how we address this.
It's a good point not to separate.
So as we're running out of time, is there's anyone got questions? Anyone?
Remind me the name of your
Helen,
Helen, you came from the States.
I did.
What is the situation there? I mean, many times.
I can only talk about autism. I'm talking about autism.
No. I mean, no offense, but
It's a billion-dollar industry.
We compare Europe with US.
Yeah.
Is it better? Is it more advanced? It's a social
Are we
innovation
talking about
ecosystem.
civil society?
The social innovation ecosystem and the civil society.
Well, regarding civil society, I would say America is years in the dark ages. There is no civil society. It's like cowboy country. You're on your own. You're on your own. You have to be healthy. You have to be educated. And otherwise, you don't have health insurance. You don't have health insurance. A civil society takes care of its old people, takes care of its sick people, and it certainly takes care of its disabled people. It does not exist. Now, regarding innovation, of course, the Americans are light years ahead because of the money.
But how is in your particular situation, if you compare what was the situation for Louis, for example?
Okay, Louis is my son. Louis was in a group home. Okay, I lived in California, so that was provided by the state. If you live in any other part, you won't have these. California's a little bit more liberal. He went to a very dynamic day program. It was a community-based day program, which is our next project here. A community, we don't want them in, with all respect to George who's from the Autism Society here, who does fantastic work, and my son goes to his day program. But we don't want them to go to it. We want them integration. This is social integration. So it was a community-based day program. I mean, it's not rocket science to go to the University of Cyprus for 1 hour every morning and start your day. It's not rocket science. If you're a person with disabilities, they should give us a designated classroom. But I haven't started on this yet. This is my next project. But yeah, I mean, regarding social innovation, of course, and resources, of course, related to money, but on the everyday level, very, very poor.
Any other questions?
Yeah. Hi, I'm Panis. I'm a blogger, innovation blogger, and startup. Okay, I want to play a bit the devil's advocate here. I always like to do that. Dimitri said, okay, let's do what he described. But why don't we get a model like UK model that is there working for many years, $10 billion industry, 22 billion, 6% working integrated in the social way? Why don't we take that and replicate immediately without delays in bureaucracy? And the other thing is how we can convince, because me, you, and others were going to the officers of the COPE about the law was the past 3 years, the guidelines for this law. Personally, I know the ins and outs, and behind the scenes, etc. But as you, as a community, are you voicing this out? Not individually, but with a specific social campaign or something. Going to the MPs, hassle them every day about this. Because the law, the guidelines, as far as I know, it's ready. It's there, and it was supposed to be before the, just to put a big context for the audience also. It was there, and it was about to pass before the new president came in, and now there is a delay. I don't know why. And actually, the president of the parliament, Anita, 3 weeks ago, she said that she will look personally into it. So what are your plans as a community, as a social forum, to push more on, and more, organized? Not the one that, we have this law the last 3 years, and we don't have one registered company.
Well, I want
And
to be
social-
first, and I told them.
Everybody wants to be first.
I want to
I
be
know at
first.
least 20 other companies that they want to be first.
Yeah, so I want to be the first, and I'm ready to go. So they've given me the specs, they want another proposal from me, not a 20-page, not a 10-page, not a 2-page. Now they want a paragraph. I'll give them the paragraph. I know exactly what they
From
want.
the moment that the law is not there, the guidelines, you cannot do anything.
But they're ready. They're ready.
Yeah, no.
But what do you want to do anyway?
The registry is not working though.
No, the registry's not working now.
They wait for the regulations to pass, and that's.
Yeah, that's the question, the discussion.
I can, if you want to.
Yeah.
I can address a couple of things. First of all, why not the UK system? Because every time you try to transfer the system, an ecosystem, from one place to another, and there is no localization, it will fail. The system to work in the UK, in the United States, there is some localization element. So, for example, in the UK, maybe people are more sensitive. Maybe we don't care about social issues. So, if you try to get that system that works there, and this happened in very well in the entrepreneurship space. Every time to try to transport and bring something at a different location without considering the local aspects of it, is bound to fail. And it's proven. The second one is the reason this thing is because the problem is small, not for us individually. I'm pretty sure for Helen it's a big problem, for Natasha, for us in the work that we do. But when you look at the whole of the problem pie within a country like Cyprus, this is more problem. So small problem means little impact, means few voters. Okay, so they're not going to deal with it unless then I believe language is very useful. The shit hits the fan. Unless somebody makes a lot of noise, not individually. Unless you're right. Why doesn't everybody get together to make a lot of noise about it so they can move forward? But I really believe that even with the guidelines and the passing of the law and all that stuff, is not going to be helpful. It's going to become a big bureaucracy that nobody's going to be able to get out of it. And nobody's going to be able to create value from it.
I want to add on this because why are we even having this discussion? Because it's about where you want to put your emphasis. In whatever you're trying to endeavor, there are going to be limitations. At the moment, one of the limitations is the legal framework of the national context of the venture that anybody is trying to build. So what? So I would like to compare this to a concrete solid wall. Yes, I can see the wall and say there's nothing beyond that, but I can look at the crack and try to go through. So the question is like, are you interested or committed? Because if you are interested, you find excuses. If you are committed, you find solutions. And I think this is the basis where everybody should start. And I want to take the personal story of two cases here. Also, Burak and us, we faced this limitation and dilemma, and we took a solution that worked out for us. In our case, in my first social enterprise company, I did a commercial company entity that is certified as an innovation enterprise because I needed the profit. I didn't want to kill the profit. In the case of the gardens, it's a company without a limited non-liability company, which has other benefits. So it's what's the purpose and what works for you legally at the place you are is a more beneficial thing to do rather than saying the framework doesn't work. What works? So, and I think it was also your case. You had a lot of difficulty registering, but that didn't stop. Yeah. Huh? Yes, I mean, are you committed or interested? This is the real question. Yes.
I mean, it was done.
Yeah, he's wearing pink. That will not work with you.
Do you consider that, like, within the framework of the legislation, there would be a lot of NGOs that will want to be registered as social enterprises?
They're not eligible. NGOs are not eligible.
They cut them out.
They may change their status.
Does it matter?
No,
Yeah,
that's what I'm
does
asking.
it matter? I mean, I'm bringing you people. What is a social enterprise with social integration? I've created it for you.
I understand from the scope of an NGO, what are you gonna do on the context that there is a benefit for the social business framework? But is it? So until this dilemma is resolved, you need to do your job.
Yeah, so I've been told I'm not eligible, so I call myself something else. I mean, you do the dance, right?
Yeah, so, I was actually contemplating about this because I don't consider the being on the registry actually means something. And a recent OECD report shows that in countries where there is no legislation on social enterprises, the social enterprises ecosystem is even more dynamic.
I think it's like now it's outdated. 10 years ago, it was a buzz in whole Europe. Social enterprises, they couldn't do it. It's dead. I mean, only case studies would work now. I think, like for our case, there's no difference. If like US, they come and tell you unless you're a 501 with long name, they say we cannot donate in you, or we cannot even do CSR with you. That case, people will start registering unless there's an extra benefit. Right now, having another type of company registration, organization registration, I think it doesn't make any sense. And there are more bureaucratic paperwork to prove that you're a social enterprise at the current state. It's not worth it for anyone. It's waste of time.
And also from country to country, there's different policies. That doesn't stop business to
Regarding
business.
Cyprus, the only benefit that I was seeing, to be honest, it was that there will be a grants. Seem that you will get some grants when you are registering this list and of social enterprises.
For tendering. For tendering, yes. For public tendering, yes. But the grant for social enterprises.
Yeah,
No, I think
€15,000 grant.
But that's my other question, because one of the major problems of social innovators or enterprises or whatever, it's funding. Do you have any tips to share or experiences? How we can
before I think Helen was going to pick that up. Funding, how you get funding. But I would say something like every time you wait for the government to solve your problem, you're going to fail because governments create problems, they don't solve problems. This is one. And I will give you an example about that. When there was I hate this word, the haircut in Cyprus, people that lost their money, there were two groups of people. The people that committed suicide or got sick and suffered in their lives, and the people that the next day decided, okay, I'm going to start again and I don't care about that because there's nothing I can do about it. So you can sit there and worry every day about what somebody else is not doing for you, or you can worry every day about what you can do for yourself. Okay, this is one. Second, you are gonna always, and I'm gonna use what you said, Burak, buzzwords. The European Union and the governments love that. Okay, it was diversity, it was CSR, it was ESG, it was whatever it is. Okay, and so you can see that every time there is some sexy terminology that is catchy, everybody's gonna get involved because there is money for it. There is, awareness, branding, whatever you want to call it. Okay. However, nowadays with social contributions, let's say, especially with ESG and CSR, the big companies need that for investments as well. So investors nowadays, and I think it's going to move forward, and because the governments are not involved, this is going to be the reality. To invest in you as a company, you have to prove to them that you have a percentage of your support, income, whatever, or contributions to ESG-related challenges. So if you immerse yourself in that, you identify businesses, and remember back to the proposal about the 20% pre-tax, then you're going to find partners that are going to come along with yourself to help you solve the particular social problem that you want to work on. Okay, so that's the only way. If you wait for the government, it's never going to happen. It doesn't matter if we say it, Amita, or, I think the intention is there, but again, if you don't want to solve the problem, you're going to find ways to just make it look excuses.
So we need to close this session.
Well, maybe we
Do
have
you
a
want
few
to talk about the funding?
No, I think funding's always a challenge.
Okay, so yes, since we're running out.
I don't consider it a challenge anymore. I consider it an opportunity because money is out there and there's a lot of flow, financial flow around matters anymore. Like compared to 10 years ago, for me, it's back to having the compass and understanding what is relevant to your development. Money is there. It's how you utilize it.
Thank you very much.
So thank you.
And thank you for your
Thank you for your time. Thank you for your vision you shared with us. It's really important to know that there are people with vision and patience.
Thanks.
And we will be here in 10 years to discuss about social innovation and
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
join us for networking, sharing